What up, guys? It's Josiah here, and today I'm reading Red Kayak, chapter 2, rather. Let's begin. In some ways, it started over a year ago, but I want to get the worst over first, so I'm going to start with what happened 6 months ago. In the spring, that morning we were waiting, my two friends and I, for the ambulance to come, and JT took a swig from his bottle of green tea. I remember this because Digger was trying to pick a fight. It all started with JT's green tea. No one was hurt. That's not why the ambulance was coming. My cousin Carl had this old ambulance that the county still uses for a backup, and when he had the early shift, he could swing by and give us a ride to school. School's only a couple miles away, but it's 40-minute ride on that dang bus because we're the first pickup on the loop. Besides, it was pretty cool getting a ride in the ambulance. JT almost always waits for the bus with me. He lives next door on his family's chicken farm. A soybean field between my house and his has a path worn down through the middle of it because we're back and forth so much. And Digger is across the road, not too far, the other way. Sometimes he walks over to join us. That or his father drops him off in his dump truck on his way to work. So we were in the driveway that morning, waiting for Carl to pick us up. Backpacks on the ground, hunched in our parkas because it was chilly, taking turns throwing the tennis ball for Tilly, who never quits. And Digger snatched the bottle of green tea out of JT's hand and started laughing. What the? Shh! I'm always having to tone down Digger. My mom can hear, and she can't stand to hear us cuss. We cast a glance back at the house. Digger held the bottle out of JT's reach. Green tea with ginseng and honey. He sounded disgusted. It made me uncomfortable the way Digger talked to JT sometimes. And after all those years we spent growing up together. But JT just laughed. He's pretty easygoing. And he swiped the drink back. Hey, he said. It's loaded with antioxidants. Anti-who? Digger screwed up his face. You wait, Digger, JT warned him. You and Brady, especially Brady, because he's always out in the sun. You'll be all old and wrinkly by the time you're 50, and I have like this, perfect skin. Yeah, like a baby's ass, Digger retorted. I wanted to tell him to shut up, but I didn't. I could tell when Digger was in one of his moods. You're just jealous, JT quips. Of what? Digger demanded. Guys, I called out, stopping everything like a referee whistle. When they looked at me, I pivoted and flung the ball for Tilly. We watched it land and rolled downhill toward our dock. At the same time, my father's bandsaw started up in the old tractor shed, which Dad had transformed into his woodworking shop. Where we live used to be a farm, but it's not anymore. The barn and the farmhouse burned down years ago, before my parents bought the property and built a one-story brick rancher. My dad is a waterman half the year and a boat carpenter the other half. And even though crabbing season started April 1st, he hadn't been working Mondays in the shop because he'd been working Mondays in the shop because he was making more money building cabinets than crabbing, especially now that the crabs are scarce. Last year, the state legislature cut Dad's workday from 14 hours down to 8. Then the governor took away a month of November, and it hurt us financially. My mom had to put in extra hours at the nursing home, and my dad was pretty ticked off. They were blaming the wrong people, he railed. Pollution and development, that's what's really killing us. Baby, right there, smart of crabs, if it weren't for all those damn condominiums going up. I don't know. We had a little argument about it after a scientist came to school. He said my dad was only half right about pollution and all. We're fishing the bay too hard, that guy kept saying. Too many crab pots, too many trout lines. You have to take a long look. When Dad's nosy bandsaw stopped, I glanced at JT and Digger and wondered which way the conversation would go. What's your dad working on? JT asked. Dr. Finley's sailboat, I said, glad to move off the subject of JT's green tea. 30-foot seesaw crench, 25 years old, fiberglass, hull but a lot solid wood trim topside. JT arched his eyebrows. Wow, he's got his work cut out for him. He's completely gutting it, I said. Dr. Finley is going to put this in his incredible electronic system, GPS, flat screen, TV, security. I knew this would make JT drool because he loves all that technical stuff. But it only made Digger angry. He kicked a rock in the driveway. Some people just got too much money for their own damn good. When a pair of nosy marlins flew over, we looked up. Even Tilly dropped the ball and started barking. In the west, I noticed dark clouds piling up across the horizon like a distant mountain range. If the weather doesn't look so bad, I'd say come over this afternoon. We could take a little spin down the river. I felt bad for Digger sometimes, on account of his family. I can't go, he mumbled, still kicking his toe into the dirt. I gotta help my old man haul gravel. Yeah, me neither, JT said. I erased my entire hard drive last night. I need to load everything back on and rewrite that essay for English. Hey, Brady, remember those oxymorons we talked about in Lit the other day? Jumbo shrimp, I said. Yeah, and military intelligence, JT reminded me. I grinned. Well, I got a good one for you, JT said. Microsoft works. Even Digger lifted his chin and chuckled. A perfect idiot, he said. He added. So there we were, all of us laughing because we knocked out 4 oxymorons smack in a row, and that's when we first saw the red kayak. From where we stood, we could see down the grassy slope behind our house, on past Dad's shop and the dock to the creek. And out there, heading our way, was Mr. D'Angelo's new red kayak. Digger's face lit up. The Italian stallion, he chortled, a dual reference to the heritage of our new neighbor, Marculus D'Angelo, and his observation with physical fitness, cupping his hands around his mouth. Digger pretended to call it. Paddle harder, you sucker! He and JT exchanged this look. I didn't quite catch, and JT started laughing too. But I shook my head. He shouldn't be going out there today. When he gets down by the point, he'll fly down the river. I was sure Mr. D'Angelo didn't know about how the wind picked up once you left our creek and hit open water, not to mention the spring tides. Sometimes they were so strong they'd stuck the crab pots buoys under. I doubted whether Mr. D'Angelo knew that. He'd only had the kayak a few weeks. Really, guys, we ought to yell something, I said slovenly. JT shook his head. He's too far away. He won't hear you. Why would we anyway? Digger asked with a scowl. Just because you babysat for the little kid and you're in love with his wife. And overestimated if I ever heard one. Although I did take care of their son one afternoon when Miss D'Angelo had to go over to the bridge to Annapolis for a doctor's appointment. And she is a very good-looking woman, but even JT and Digger thought so. Ben's cool, I said, trying to make light of it. We did Legos. JT chuckled and looked at his sneakers. Sneering, Digger stuffed his hands in his pockets. Look, Brady, he said, if he's stupid enough to be out there today, he can take what's coming. Besides, he deserves it. Tilly whined because she was waiting for me to throw the ball again. The water is damn cold, I said, as I stooped to pick up the ball. It was only the middle of April, and the water temperature probably wasn't even 50 degrees yet. Exposures, you know. If he fell in, he could die, like 20 minutes. Digger smiled. Exactly, he said calmly. We'd all be so lucky. At that point, I threw the ball so hard it landed in the marsh near the water. Tilly took off after it like a shot and disappeared into the tall grass. Come on, I made eye contact with Digger when I said it again. Let's yell something. But we didn't. Digger dropped his eyes back and backed off. When he turned into profile, I glimpsed the hard lines of his scowl and gazed out toward the red kayak. It was the first time I realized how much anger Digger had packed inside. I knew he was sore because D'Angelo bought his grandfather's farm, tore down the old house, and built a mansion up there on the bluff. But up until then, maybe I hadn't realized how much it bothered him. Of course, it didn't help that we'd all been booted off the property a few days ago. But if you ask me, Mr. D'Angelo was pretty nice about it. He didn't yell or offend us or anything like that. He merely asked us to leave because we were trespassing, and Digger did have a cigarette lit. I mean, Mr. D'Angelo had a right. For all we knew, we could have started a fire or something. But from Digger's point of view, we were only hanging out under our cliff. Where we hung out a million times over the last 13 years. That cliff and all the property the D'Angelos now own was part of our stomping grounds. We shot tin cans out of the cornfield, built forts in the woods, raced go-karts down the tractor roads. So I did feel for some of Digger's frustration. What I didn't understand is how Digger could have been so callous that morning. If he's stupid enough to be out there, he can't take what's coming. He can take what's coming. How Digger and JT, too, could have been so blind to the awful possibilities, even after I reminded them. He could die, like 20 minutes. We ought to yell something. When exactly they began to feel shamed by it, because it has always shamed me. Hope you guys enjoyed this chapter. If you guys did want to, leave a like, subscribe. See you.